Hi, my name is Matej and you're watching the Surviving Art Show. And today's video might not be for everybody. If you're starting out and you're still developing your personal style and your skills and techniques, you might want to skip this one. But if you are at a place where you feel content with what you can do and you learn the techniques and you know what your craft is all about and have developed your style, I want to talk about customer acquisition and how to approach the problem of getting customers for your art business. So if you're interested, stay tuned. Getting to the point where we develop our own personal style in this sea of everybody can be an artist now is quite hard. We have to look at it also historically, thinking about, well, there were 10,000 other people before us. Maybe we have a few artists as role models, or we've just learned certain techniques and styles from other artists that are older or deceased or, well, just been dead since forever. The point is, we've learned our skills from people who've already came before us, and we've built our own narrative upon theirs, because let's face it, making something new today is quite frankly almost impossible. Making things that seem new or novel isn't that hard. It can actually be done, and a lot of artists are doing novel things, but not really new things. It's not that much about, I don't know, making the new cubism or inventing the futurism of today. There are no more isms anyway, it's just a wide playing field of everything goes. The point is more to adjust our views, to adjust what we know and what we feel about society and the merits upon which society has been judged for since forever, and apply them to today. So apply values like truth, like sincerity, like kindness, like righteousness via contemporary mediums that are more accessible to people today. Because let's face it, painting isn't really as accessible to people of the 21st century as it was to people in the 18th century, where photography wasn't even invented. But after we figured this part out, we have to face the fact that we need to find customers for this style, for our narrative, for our way of expressing ourselves. And this is actually where the problem begins, because we have to figure out our why first. That means that although I may know how to use my brushes in a certain way that I am comfortable with and I think is good, and I can make good quality paintings, or I can chisel away at marble and make a nice sculpture or video or performance, whatever, I am good at my craft at that point. And now I need to figure out why I have started pursuing art in the first place. Because without my why, I have no idea what my art is actually all about. Because art is subjective, there are incredibly numerous reasons why it could or not be deemed good or bad to anybody who's observing it, who's experiencing it. If, for example, I show a painting of a nice still life with a fruit basket and a lot of apples and bananas, all shiny and whatnot, to different kinds of people, they might not react the same way to the painting. And of course it's obvious, because we all have different styles, we have different tastes, and as such we behave differently in the world. Some people put a lot of emphasis on looks, on appearances, and they might really treasure and understand the importance of a beautiful bowl of fruit in their kitchen to, just make the whole vibe of the whole room more pleasing, more inviting, and more fun for everybody else who visits their kitchen, or for themselves. But it could also be that some people don't like the looks and appearances of things. They are more concerned with the internals, the internal workings, the insides. And they might not see anything in the bowl of fruit. They might just see another still life, a plain, boring bowl of fruit. And such people might enjoy the bowl of fruit still life if the apples were rotten, if the banana was brown, if the whole still life had a social or a political or some other memento mori kind of vibe to it, where the story of the fruit bowl would be much more deeper than if it was only a fruit bowl, just as any other fruit bowl can be. And we as artists need to figure out how our work speaks to different kinds of people, and obviously find the right people for our work. Let's say we found our why. For example, I might do work that reflects my views upon social inequality and the injustice that is made to people of different races or sexes or colors, or doesn't really matter. Just the theme of my why is social inequality, and I found that through my art I always have expressed this why, this urge to battle, to tackle, to understand why such an inequality amongst peoples would exist. And after I have found my why, I need to figure out what exactly I am doing to understand this why, to figure out what this why is. That means that I need to really understand my product, my art. It means taking my time and looking at all the creation of my art that I have been doing since whenever I started. And this means whenever I started doing these more polarized kind of art that actually reflects my views, not the actual beginning of me sketching, cubes and trying to learn perspective, because that has nothing to do with my why. It was just a means to learn the technique to actually get to the point where I could uncover and discover my why and my tendencies and my needs of expressing myself. And after I have all my body in front of me, maybe via photographs, or much better in person if you still have the old paintings, if you didn't sell them or if you didn't burn them or whatever we do with old stuff. I have a lot of work that I just threw away because I didn't think it'd be important. Now I mourn that decision, but what are you gonna do, right? The point why we're doing this is to look at the whole body of work and to observe our product. How this work, this project, this performance, this video, this painting, sculpture, doesn't matter. How it can battle, how it can explain our why. Does it do a good job at explaining our why, which is very important? Is the work of art that we do of a high enough quality to be actually understood and to communicate our why with a certain, certainty? Is it steady and homogeneous enough for the message to always be more or less the same, or maybe a different aspect of the same message throughout the art that we produce? Or is it more scattered? If it's scattered, then we obviously need to work on our what, on our product, and make it a bit better, make our technique a bit more precise, make our brushstrokes more in tune with our message. And after we arrive at the point where we look at our body of work and we may maybe show it to a few friends and ask them what they feel about that work. And if, let's say at least a few people see the same thing or similar thing that we see, we have something going on and we can go to the next step. And this step is the question, for whom? For whom is this product, this idea, this art made? There are actually two ways to look at this though, because sometimes you will have people who are good at a certain craft but do not really feel in tune with their why, and just like the what, the artisans of our society that just really like a job well done. And there's nothing wrong with such a perspective. But if you're somebody like that who just focuses on the craft and not really on the why that product that you produce is produced, then you need to look at your customer acquisition from a different perspective. Because if you are an artisan, let's say, you might take time and try to focus on what the market wants instead of what you want. If your why, if your story, your narrative isn't that important to you, it is more the technical aspect that is, then you need to find people's whys to cater to them. Because otherwise you will have nobody to sell your work to, even though you might enjoy working on it a lot. So you need to focus on other people's whys and to find the why that is most dominant on the market. Then you will have more chances at getting to more people. And by this, I don't mean to just make something for everybody, because something for everybody is actually nothing for nobody. If you target anybody, you don't get anything in return. You need to focus on let's say a niche. I don't really like this word because it's been used so much, it's become a bit ideological, but to focus on a small segment of a group that really enjoys some form of story, some form of narrative, or they might just enjoy beautiful things, which could be an even better thing for you, as you yourself do not focus on the story, and the people who you would be selling to don't really regard the story as important, but they might regard the beauty and the technical aspects of that product as more important. But if you have your why, and it is incredibly important for you to have it, then you need to approach it from the other way around. You need to approach people who have exactly the same why, because you will have to connect with like-minded people, with people who are motivated by these same things, to get your story across, and your story will then get your product across. Remember, people buy and sell via emotions, and they just justify these sales and buys by intellect, by logic. The emotion itself is what sells any product, really. This is the famous example used in marketing, that people don't buy drills, they buy holes. And if you follow this train of thought, they don't really actually buy holes, they buy a means of hanging some piece of furniture on which they can put their stuff, something valuable, or maybe they seek recognition by their partners for making something themselves and showing them that they are able to care for their family, or whatever their aspiration is. Because people don't need drills, they need to feel loved, they need to feel connected. You need to target people with a why and figure out that why. And now I want to say both ways are equally okay. There's no right or wrong. I mean, there's no need for anybody to have a core why concerning their art. Some people actually just really like doing things for the sake of the craft, and that's wonderful. And while artists, we tend to, usually in conversations we will say that, yes, the craftsmen, they don't know anything and so on, but that's a stupid idea. It is a stupid way to think about it, because it is just a different approach to doing something. Whereas on the other side, craftsmen might feel that, artists are just full of bullshit because we all talk and talk and talk and philosophize, but our products look crap. And let's face it, conceptualism just made it worse. And let's face it, Duchamp was a great guy and he did a lot for the arts, but at the same time, he was a dick because he made a lot of people justify crap production because of blah, blah, blah. Enter some Jung and maybe some Greenberg and whatever other theory you have, and just, package it up and say that it's art. And, it isn't. So both sides are equally okay and valid, and there should really be no reason in discussing either one to be better or worse, but better or worse for whom. So you need to figure out, as well as I needed to figure out, what fits your personality, your aspirations, and what you actually like to do and would like to do with your art, and what you enjoy while doing it. And now for some tip. That's it for today's video. I thank you very much for watching, and if you like the kinds of content that I produce and you're new here, I make a lot of videos about the art world, the art market, pricing, and tips and strategy videos, and just, psychology videos and so on concerning art. So if you like the content, consider subscribing. And if you're already subscribed, Thank you very much for watching, and I wish you all a very nice day. Cheers.